joined this company 6 months ago. The company actually has their R&D organization called AIT, 종합기술원, and it builds future technology for technology we need to grow and make diverse services. And it has been about 30 years already since it was built, and we have about 450 people. It used to be actually bigger, and we have about 20% PhDs, and more than half of them has investment. Okay. And then we have many patents, including global international patents. And the R&D center actually is located in Daejeon as well as Seoul. So, Gangnam, Gumyeon-dong, and Daejeon, it's not very far from here. I haven't been there yet. And then the KT is a telecommunication company, and as you can see, it evolves from the Bell from US, the first telephone, and it has been, it's like AT&T and other companies, into different areas, including, the OLED TV, IPTV, and various broadband services. As the phone evolves, we evolve as well. So we're not just doing communication, we do a lot of media and other kinds of content services now. The research divisions, the traditional infrastructure, network, and it's not just car network, we are looking at 5G, SDN, software-defined network, and next generation cloud computing data centers, and the mission there are different services we provide, media, software engineers. Software is a big thing, it's growing a lot. And then convergence include healthcare, smart grid, energy, and security, and so on. And then the last one is Future Technology Lab that I'm leading, and we build longer-term technologies we need, including big data and education, next generation UI UX. Now I'm going to talk about more of the education side. It's a kind of small project right now, but we're going to make it kind of founding technology for lots of different educational applications. So the online activities. So many people use Facebook. I use Facebook on and off, and Twitter has been used in the U.S. for many political. Obama actually used this very effectively for his campaign, and the companies did the example of HP using the social network or social Q&A forum for solving the customer problems. And this is the educational site. The open system is computer science course, how people or students use this to communicate their problems and do projects. And this is kind of kids' educational games, but it could be a lot of other online activities in business, politics, education, and even many household things, appliances. Housewives, they use internet to buy things and find things and so on. And this kind of gives us a lot of records, human activity records we can use. And this is actually changing our life. And in education, it used to be face-to-face in teaching classes like here, face-to-face with each other. But many times now we go out online and take classes. I recently went to an ebook conference. There's a lot of contents that the publishing company is interested in e-materials. There are many online courses in Korea as well. And then as the online courses are becoming popular, online social learning, social meaning that the group based activities also grow a lot because there's a foundation, a theoretical framework for framework that grounds that the social activity actually is fundamental learning framework. And then we do have mobile games. You play mobile games, but also there are educational games as well. So there's this term, intelligent tutoring system. This term has been, I think, used for more than 10 years. So the tutoring system, but it has to be intelligent. So what does that mean? So this is actually a system, and it's built by CMU folks. It's teaching physics for high school or middle school kids about sometimes friction and sometimes mass and tension. And this actually displays how when the plane stays like this, and this is 45 degrees and 60 degrees, what is the tension, what is mass, based on this physical theory. And then the students have to go through individual activity, individual step by step, and then when they make mistake, the system provides a feedback and hints depending on how the system assesses the capability of the students. And this kind of system, the intelligent system, can assess human activities and provide smart hints. And it has been used for other training. So like you're training pilots or military personnel or other training, you have to train engineers, and how you can use this kind of capability has been very, very popular topic. It has been very popular in some of the community. So the basic thing is that you have to assess the student skills, what this person knows and what this person doesn't know. It has to be assessed. And based on this assessment, it provides feedback. Okay, you need to learn more about this, you need to solve this problem, or it gives you hints. That's a framework of intelligent tutoring systems. And then this is also a framework learning management system. It's popular term, so maybe some of you heard this term. It actually grew up from the content management system, but it now has its own kind of flavor. The content management system has been kind of tuned to support learners and teachers. So Moodle and Blackboard are popular systems. The Moodle is also popular in Korea as well, I found, and Blackboard is more popular in the US. But this all provide kind of a platform for teaching and learning, and the kids can come and take quiz, and the teachers can prepare courses, lectures, using these sites. It's basically a website. You can think of a website to help the teachers and then classes. And if you look at this, the Google Trends, have you tried the Google Trends? The Google Trends is in a kind of a keyword-based big data. So if you type some word, one of the kind of popular terms that are used by people when they search for things on Google. So this graph, the blue one, shows how many times people use Moodle in their searches. And then the red one shows the Blackboard. So you can see that 2005, this is a little bit, and then it grows a lot. And when there's up and down, I basically, based on the time, maybe the summer, it goes is more less popular because there's not many classes, but maybe during this class semesters it may be more. But you can see there's a lot of growing here, a lot of, and here this year it could be more than 10 times. So it's actually exploding in some sense. This kind of people are very interested in using and kind of finding more about this kind of systems. So think about this. And then Naviance is another framework in US. High school students use a lot. In Korea, I don't think I see any kind of this yet. But you can think about big data framework for education. So nice thing about this is here we when we do the education or teaching and on, okay, I need to go to some school. I need to go to KAIST. I need to go to Jungang University. I need to go to Korean University. You set the goal as like I need to go to this school, this department. But in this system, what they are thinking is that what you want to be when you grow up. So after you get, I don't know, when you're 30, 20, or 25, what do you want to be? So for instance, I want to be kind of a sculpt cutting, wood cutting person. So I want to be like that. My career, I want to set my goal like this. That's my ultimate goal. When I be 30, I want to be, engineer or something. That's the goal. And then this system allows you to think, okay, then to become this engineer, what colleges has this course that supports becoming that engineer or the wood cutting person? And then, based on that, maybe some college, like College A, has this class, or the University of Maryland has this course. And then, okay, then I need to go to that school. And then, to be able to go to the school, how much A's I have to get? Should I pass A or B for math? So it's actually backtracking from my end goal to the current situation. So it allows you to grow over time to reach your goal. And this is another example. So I want to talk, because I need to take that course in this university, I need to go to the school. So for that engineering school, and this green ones show the kids who went to this school, and then the red ones show the kids who failed to go to their school. And then I'm looking at myself, I'm the blue one, I'm here. And look at this. There are a lot of kids going to the school. I mean, even if I have the same SAT and this GPA and SAT score, and I'm comparing myself with other kids that went and failed to go to school, and I can see what should I do. And maybe I should, do more of the science activity. Maybe I should do more of the health activities, PE, physical health. Other things, what do I need to do to actually go to school? So you can compare. So this is actually a big data kind of system. It's nice. And another framework, I'm trying to tell you about what's happening, the trends right now. Massive open online courses. So massive, you can imagine, it's a big course. So if you heard this, Coursera, edX, and Udacity, these are, if you look for these words, it's actually getting very popular. People are taking these courses a lot. I want to know, I haven't taken any computer science course, but I need to know machine learning, for instance. And this allows you to take this course. And you don't have to be in the classroom. And sometimes you interact with the people who are living in different countries to do the projects. And it's massive in terms of the number of students taking the same class. It could be, it's not like this 50 students, 100 students. It could be 10,000 students taking the same course. This shows the Google Trends again. Mobile learning, okay, mobile learning, because it's not like this NOOC, that's MOOC, it's typical MOOC. MOOC has been growing a lot. This is actually exploding. And you can see this is actually changing people's life, how you take the course, how you get educated. So the traditional education, we don't have any data from it. Like this is traditional way, and because of this MOOC and other framework, it becomes very clear that whenever the students interact with online and each other online or interact with teacher, the data, the size of the data we get from all this interaction and activity from 10,000 students per class is amazing. So the activities including chats, forums, wikis. We added something, and the discussion boards allows you to talk to each other. So I ask questions, and others can respond to me, and so on. We can get response from TA or teachers. Wiki is a part you can edit each other's documents. So this is actually wiki that I captured from one of the classes at USC. The students kind of use wiki to create projects and design projects. And Google Doc is also very well used, has been well used system. I'm not sure how many use Google Doc, but probably you may have other kind of code sharing or document sharing framework. And then smart education, the class in middle school, high school, elementary school. The smart education framework here usually called like you're using iPad and this information gets shared with teacher or other kids. So educational technology in general has been getting a lot of attention, but now the data is getting on top of, there's a lot of attention, it's getting more attention here. So the future potential, so what we can do with the data, the future potentials has been kind of, people are talking about, oh, look at what we can do with effective. So you heard the term big data. Many people use big data as the framework for supporting business. But it has a lot, beyond business, you can do a lot of things with data. And you can do better education, you can do better science, better other things, better health, and so on. So in US, NSF is National Science Foundation. It is a government organization that supports a lot of research activity, including educational fields. So the one I showed, the online courses. So as the online courses get better, the online courses, we had the online course, 방송통신대학. We had this course for many, many years. So we just took the class, watching, TV, and then, taking exam. But it's going beyond much, it has a lot of new capabilities, and it's getting better. More students use them. And also this is a revolution in education research, because I mentioned the 10,000 or 100,000 students taking the same course. And we used to have this kind of psychology, educational psychology studies. They take only 20 students. Okay, let's say 10 students take this course, another 10 students take another course. Let's compare the different pedagogical strategies. And now it's internet scale. So 100 students, no. 100,000 students, okay. 50,000 students, 50,000 students. You can compare the large scale data points and see if this pedagogical strategy is actually effective or not. And the experiments can be very effective. And we can discover, okay, this works best for this type of students. And then personalized adaptive. So adaptive learning is also a key term here, we say. So adaptive. So the system gets adapted to yourself. So what you need to know is your student's interest. What is interesting? This guy is interested. What is the prior knowledge? What is the misconception? And then we change the education for this guy only. So this kind of individualized. This personal education is for me, right? And then effective innovation, meaning that the good education, we in Korea have Kwae. It's like very expensive. You have paid for some, very expensive teacher, and it's a privilege for some rich people. But because of this online things, very high quality courses are offered for free. You can just take the course, and there's a kind of interesting business aspect, how they get money. Right? But anyway, there's all free, high-quality courses you can take. And there's a learning competition. It's happening. It's kind of changing the social, the educational structure. and then we can predict, okay? So prediction is another aspect. So, whether this guy can do well or not, we can predict what's going to happen. So this lot of potential. If you're thinking about, if you're interested in education, or fundamentally very interested in education, I think. So there are a lot of things changing here. So now I only have the data from United States, but this has this is a National Center for Educational Statistics. They have been collecting, the United States has been collecting a lot of data from preschool, like young kids, pre-elementary young kids, and then go to middle school, high school, post-secondary high school, college. Faculty data as well as students, a lot of data you can use to, nice thing about this is it's available for you to experiment. But I want to kind of see, I want to understand certain aspects of science education and so on. And you can look at this data. Of course, the personal information is removed, but you can look at a lot of nice data here. And I hope that we can do the same here. Unfortunately, we don't have that yet. So, what I'm trying to say or show is that the community is growing. So, this type of data, education has been used a lot of data, but again, because this explosion of kids' data, learners' data, this field just been established about 3 years ago, and now the community of educational data mining is growing a lot, and educational society, and then there's a lot of analytics, and this conference again growing, or the community is growing exponentially. So it's also could be growing area for a lot of jobs as well. So this part I have a little bit of detail. So here I kind of give you. This is a lot of popularity in this area and so on. So this part has some more details. So as the online activity grows, people have this fundamental question. Okay, so I see a lot of activities online. Some activities, okay. So looking at this online data, can we do prediction? Can I say something about the future by just looking at the current data? That's a fundamental question for any kind of application. We have data, can we predict future? So in this case is in education. So by looking at the current data, can I predict you becoming somebody, right? This is a fundamental question in education field. So what I did was in some area, I looked at the undergraduate engineering courses and try to predict the contributions in the forums, online boards, and whether I can predict the performance of the student. So, for instance, whether the degree of participation, how many times I participate in online activities, can I use the data for predicting my grades? And what kind of words are used? So if I use a complex words, what does that mean? Can I do better? Or do you think I can do better? And people in education field use a lot of emotional expressions as an indicator. So when I express myself in the forums or talking to my friends, expression of emotions, whether they provide any hints on whether I'm going to do well or not. And then the style of participation. How I participate, whether I provide information to other kids or I get information from other people, is that indicator? And then work pacing. How well I pace my work over time, online. Is there any relation between that and my performance? So the data I used was in online discussion boards like this. So how many people use the online forums or discussion boards in class or any other activities? This one? The online boards is a kind of, is used a lot of computer scientists. Many times for finding clues for debug, for errors and stuff. That's a board in many business. For the classes, I think Kaizen uses some kind of online learning system, and this is a kind of system is similar to this. So one part is can online participation data predict? So again, the degree of participation versus performance. So one thing we can look at is the number of messages. How many messages this guy is posting? Can that indicate how well I'm doing? Because I participate more, can I say I'm doing well? And the other thing is the kinds of words used. So what kind of words? If I use a long, complex words versus a kind of short, simple words. So there are linguistic measures. Korean also has these linguistic measures of a complexity. And all other languages, Chinese, German, Italian, they have linguistic measures for complexity and so on. So we use that too. And then the expression of emotions. This emotion words, this is also kind of tools that you can use for how angry, how sad, or how happy, and the style of participation in discussion, whether you are taking a role of giving or taking, and then what pacing, how well you are pacing over time, and so on. So this graph shows this log scale. The y-axis shows the number of student groups, and then this shows how many messages are posted. So although this is kind of a linear, looks linear, but it's not linear. So actually it's like this, because many students, the small number of students post a lot of messages, but many students, they sometimes don't participate much. So there's a distinction. As a group, they participate a lot, and there are groups that participate and don't participate a lot. So we want to compare these different groups, whether there's actual difference between these different groups. And the kind of words used. So there's a thanks, sure, thanks, correctly, these are positive words, negative words, wrong, and those kind of things. Technical words. Gmake is kind of computer science word, system call, and so on. So you're looking at this kind of words they're using, whether they mean anything for predicting, okay, these guys understand this well. Maybe the technical words, if they use more technical words, does that mean they know better? Or does that mean that they have more problem? And so on. So this shows the conversation between three people, and we capture the text and see what's happening in this conversation. So the kind of words, positive words, negative words, and other kind of achievement words, but we could look at the psychological or emotional measures for looking, okay, how emotional this guy is, how happy this guy is, how sad this guy is, and so on. So the roles played, what kind of roles you're playing here. So this first guy, S1, is becoming a problem. It's kind of long text, but it's basically saying, okay, I have problems. I have these errors. This is computer science course, by the way, programming. I have an error and so on. I cannot understand the answer. So this guy's S1 is asking a question. And then S2 is providing an answer. So I actually ran a similar error today and I'm providing some hints. Okay. And so they're providing information. And then third guy, S3, came in and add some more information about some other hints, try doing things, and so on. And then S1 came back, and I still have a problem. I don't know what's going on. And then S2 come back and then provide more information and so on. So if you look at this, then you can see S1 is information seeker, and S2 and S3, those guys are information provider in this context. So the question is that if someone is providing more information than others, would that indicate that this guy knows better than others? Another measure we're looking at is the participation over time. So this actually is a project, computer science project. We have a project, 10 weeks project. We're looking at, okay, how many times you participate over time. The red one is kind of steady, right? We start from the beginning and then up and down, but they're kind of their activities are stable in some sense. But the other student has more activity, very close to the 2 weeks before that, like this guy wake up and then try to kind of do the work. So we call this procrastination. So we delay things. Some people delay more than other people. So this is the kind of measure we're looking at. So kind of don't worry about this. So normalized distance between message posting time and how early I start to work, basically, and how late I am doing my work. And smaller value indicates you are late, basically. So, and then we compare the different groups. So the A group has started their work earlier than the B group, and then the B group is kind of later. So we actually see the example, low performance, and so on. So looking at all this, I called, okay, emotion, and roles, all these kind of things. You have to do data mining, data processing. So this is kind of raw data we get from this, board, message boards, and we kind of go through this data pipeline. So imagine you are doing some data analysis. You have to go through this data pipeline, and some of them is manual job, some of them are automated tools, some of them like we build this kind of automated tools, and then finally we kind of see some statistical results. That's kind of how big data people do the work. And especially what I can tell is that most times when you handle data, a lot of time, you spend time on handling those data. Especially something like this. I'm not sure how the discussions happen. So you imagine the chatting, or if you're using Kakao, you send messages to each other. And a lot of things, the system is trying to understand what you're talking about. Whenever the system is trying to understand what you're talking about, the system has to handle a lot of noise. Noise means that things are not dramatic, so you can see there's a missing apostrophe, and then shove is a shoot, right? So all these kind of things have to be handled properly before the system can understand what's happening in the messages. So the flavor of all this is that it causes a lot of time and energy because there's unstructured data. I'm not going to go through these tools, but what it's actually doing is that from this noise data, we handle noise, and then we try to kind of extract meaningful data. What kind of terms they use? What kind of roles the students play? What kind of emotional expressions they provide, and so on. So this is kind of standard correlation analysis. Correlation meaning that you want to understand all these different student indicators, how these indicators are correlated with my grade. So what explains my grade best. And you can see that this is a procrastination. So if you're lazy, then you will get low grades. And this is if you are giving more information to other people, you may get higher grades. This is prediction. So can I predict what you're going to be? And then if you are more positive, when you say things to your friends, you may actually do better than other kids. These are indicators. And there's another statistical analysis I'm not going to explain, but what's happening here is that we have many variables, and we're trying to see which one explains your performance best, your grades best. And then we look at what's the first one that explains your grades best. And this also explains that when you're giving more information to other people, that has a lot of kind of a gravity in explaining your grades. Meaning that if you talk to other kids, if you help other kids, that's a very strong indicator for you that you will do better than other kids. And then also another important factor we found is that your work pacing. If you start early, the kids who are doing all your work, so you have 10 weeks project deadline. If you start early, like the first week, second week, that's a very strong indicator that you get better grade than other kids. So this pipeline, I mentioned this is a data critical pipeline. It's not just for education. Many other applications, it's a fundamental kind of a data form. And it has to go to you or your kids. Your parents has to know about this. Your teachers need to know about this. What's happening? Something's happening online. It's kind of mystery. It's not black box anymore. You can open it, you can see what's going on, and it has to be reported back to your parents or teachers. So this comes to, okay, so can you create a platform for, big data platform for education? So this kind of automatic data processing or semi-automatic data processing platform is interesting because, so imagine that you have been taking the course and here you have midterm, here I'm not sure if you have midterm and final, so, or you have projects. So usually until you finish the class, the whole class, so the December is the last, I don't know when is the last class you have, but until the last, your final grades, you don't know what this kids will do. So you get A, you get B, you get C, that's it. But by doing this kind of assessment or the big data framework, you can do every week, every day, you see, okay, these kids are depressed. Already we know this by second week, and then we can kind of change the class. Okay, let's focus on these kids, being more positive. Can we change this guy doing better? So instead of waiting until the last week or last the final, you can change the attitude, or you can change the activity so that the people can do better. And the second aspect is, of course, we have a lot of data. The system has to be scalable. You continue to, and then the more important thing is that there's a culture. Culture is that some of the teachers, if you talk about this big data platform for education or smart learning, smart learning to teachers are just interested, okay, good. But if they actually adapt into class, they are nervous. I'm not ready. And then they don't know that the continuous assessment is good, but how do you integrate into the traditional, the old way, the current way? We actually have the midterm and finals, and how to integrate this actually is a challenge, a social challenge. So I will not go into detail, but we built a system called Pause, and it's using this pipeline technology. The technical term is workflow, but it's a pipeline, data pipeline And we can do this continuous and scalable analysis through this platform. So the portal is like this. Here's a website. You're a teacher. I log into this site. Here I have ID and password, and I see all the things happening in my class. And then the teachers has a lot of questions. So we kind of look at what kind of questions teachers are asking, what kind of questions the parents want to know. So what kind of topics the students ask more questions about. What is the question, what is the confusion, and so on. Who's the help seeker? So we built a lot of this kind of a data pipeline. I showed this pipeline. But imagine having a lot of these data pipelines to help the teachers understand the classes. So when they log into the system, they can select, I want to know how long my kids are waiting for their answers. I want to know what kind of topics they're talking about. I select this as a teacher, and then I select my data, and then I can get the answers. So this is the workflow for, okay, I want to know what topics the students are talking about. So this, I'm teaching a class with 20 topics. So it shows that this topic has a lot of questions, and this has a little bit of questions. So next time I prepare, I don't have to wait until the end of the semester. Next time I prepare, next class, I prepare more about this, and I can help the students more. And then I can also compare my class with other class, compare different multiple semesters. Okay, my kids are doing better this semester than all this semester. Sometimes the same they look the same, but they're doing worse. Why is it happening? We want to understand this, so we have a mechanism to compare. So it's also data pipeline for understanding the students. And this is another question that teachers ask. Okay, there are a lot of patterns of Q&A happening, question, answer happening, and some of them need more attention. So whenever there's online activity happening, the bottom line is the teacher, it's only a few teachers and TAs, they cannot answer all the questions. So what they want is that, okay, which one I really need to answer? So we'll build the automated tool for identifying which question you have to answer. Instead of answering, you don't have to look at all the things happening. There's so many things in online. So in this case, there's a question. So question is not answered yet. So question, some answers, you don't have to worry about this, but we have to worry about this case. There's a question, answer. Maybe this is kind of resolved case. Question, answer, and another question coming in. This one is also another attention. So we built a framework for automatically analyzing the question and answering and find the ones that really need the attention. So the current prediction is about 75% correct, and we should improve this. So all the analysis things that I mentioned so far. So one thing I want to kind of say is that, data is king. You want to kind of pay attention to data. Study the data. Look at the data. Data tells you the truth. And a lot of the politics and business people has been doing this by guessing. Okay, I guess this will happen. Now, because you have data, you have power. You can have a proof. You can prove that you are right. And when you make the case, I can tell, okay, there's a real data supporting your claim. So, but to be able to do this, you have to have a technology. You have to kind of, if you're not working on technology, you have to find a partner who can do this technology work to build a powerful tool. And this has to be not just one time, one shot. It's not one shot anymore. You have to do continuous. Unless you do the continuous assessment or continuous analysis, you're not useful. And then you have to also understand what's the state of the art. what's the recent technology? What's the machine learning? People talk about machine learning. You have to understand this technology to be able to compete with other people. Knowing about, again, this is very important. Knowing people, culture. People has their own mechanism. They have been living their lives. We have to change it. When you change it, there's a conflict. You have to know how to manage the conflict. And this is more a technology platform. And then it has to be easy to use. So imagine every teachers can use some big data tool. To be able to do this, it has to be easy. So can you think about easy way? So look, this is a big term, formative assessment, meaning that I mentioned that before you wait until the end of the semester, I can tell, okay, by looking at 1 week, your data, your activity, I can predict you are going to be A student or you're going to be C student. I just know this by looking at your 1 week activity. The formative assessment is very powerful. You can do instant, continuous assessment. That's what this means. And you can kind of find any problems right away instead of waiting for until the end of the semester. Supporting individual. So your personal education, you don't have to take the same class. You have your own class. Can you build a class for individual? Different classes for different people. And continuous feedback to students. So I can tell you, okay, you need to work on this. You don't want to waste your time for doing this. Because the people are different, so you want to kind of continuously give the feedback to individual students and also teachers. Feedback to teachers. Don't worry about this concept because all the students know about this. You don't have to teach. Focus on the problems. You can give the feedback to teachers. And then e-materials. So we don't use books, right? So the books are yesterday. I still use, I like the papers. So some people use papers, some things, but the thing has become more e-things. Then sharing. So I haven't talked about the social aspects, but social is so important for kids. So, we are doing a lot of it, Facebook and Twitter, Kakao. It's very, we are social people. A lot of things happen, the physical social is moving to online social. So data becomes also social too. So the sharing and socializing things is a big thing also if you want interest in digging this more. So the smart framework is actually a Korean framework. I kind of copied this, but it's kind of right. You have to have a motivation. Motivation is very important, the key thing. If you and I think that from the international way, here motivation is fundamental issue. And I mentioned adaptive learning is a key term. When somebody asks about adaptive learning, we should know about this. It's also a key term. And you have to have technology partners for big data if you want to do well. So that's kind of all for the technical part of the talk. And then finally, important things, there are opportunities. So I introduced the KT research centers. We have this R&D collaboration with other schools and other globally and locally and so on. But also we have open, if you're interested in building things, software, we have API for controlling robots. So APIs for IPTV, you can develop web applications. And also we do support startups, joint ventures, and other companies. And we also have additional research programs, including faculty. So if you, I'm not sure, faculty, we have visiting faculties. So some faculty people, they used to go to US or other countries for sabbatical, but now they come to Samsung and companies here as well sabbatical. So it could be very short time, long time, and also be paid for the work. International as well as local domestic students. And also student internship too. So undergraduate internship. This is actually covers the undergraduate level, but for actual application, you have to contact the department. You can we have some application procedures, and internship actually has this retention. Actually, you can become employee through this internship process as well. So I kind of want to tell you about these opportunities if you're interested. That's it.
Question or comment? I think the students already prepared for the question.
I have a question. Thank you for the great lecture. And I hope that when the Seoul city want to make the night bus system, they use the data from the KT cell phones data, the location data from KT. So one thing is that I think the KT has their own lots of data. So you said that you KT, the research center, collaborate with lots of the universities and the other institutions. So do you have any willing to give and do lots of researches with other university or?
Yeah, actually, I currently work with 8 professors right now, and including 4 KAIST faculties, professors. So they do work on data, not that data. First, I have to tell you this. There's a strong privacy law in Korea, like privacy protection, and then also 정보통신법, 개인정보보호법. And we cannot use all this data actually. So the way we can use that, we cannot use individual data. We cannot track one person going somewhere. We can track as a group. So more than 6 people. We can group them, or like a location-wise, we can group them, and then we can track it, and so on. So the way the bus tracking is that kind of we track people, where the groups are going. It's not like a tracking individual because it's against the law by now. And actually, it's a problem too for researchers because when you do research, you really want to track individual. Otherwise, sometimes it's not meaningful. If it's too big a group, the data is so obvious it doesn't mean anything. So there's tension between research and in privacy protection. So the thing is that here in Korea, actually the privacy protection law is more strict than US, unfortunately. So some of the research we want to do, we cannot do. So hopefully, we are talking to the government and hopefully things get better, but I'm not so sure. The game thing. Game is an interesting piece because the reason we are using games was for motivation. So some kids don't. There's a factor between how you use the game, how you make the game so depending on the person. So again, what I'm actually telling you is that we are all different. Some kids can get addicted to certain games, and some other kids don't even want to play games. So it has to be all individualized. And the focus of this project was the kids who are poor, they in poor neighbors, and it should be LA, Los Angeles, and so there's certain areas there are gangs and things, and the kids don't get much attention from their parents and so on. So the fundamental from the Montessori, we help these kids to get motivation to go to college. Most of the kids don't go to college in that area, the poor kids. So first thing is that we want to kind of use the game as a motivation factor. So they were not playing games. Actually, the program we built was the kids make games. They create games by using simple tools. So even if you don't do very well in class or you are poor in math, this is there is a framework called Game Maker. It's a very easy tool. So you just drag and drop, and you can create a simple maze game, simple shooter games, and so on. So the kids get excited. Okay, I created this game. I'm not doing well in class, but I created this game. So they get motivated to technology. And our goal was whether this can go to the career level, whether they're interested in pursuing the technology as their career. So we're still collecting data. So this project hasn't been ended yet. And then social network, SNS. So this is actually data, the issue I mentioned. But privacy law is strict here, so we cannot do that yet. Social. So what I want to talk about in the first one is social, is that we do a lot of things in online. I mentioned social is something that I like a lot about. And the people, one person doing computing, I say individual people, I myself is computer, and yourself, we're all computers from my point of view. Because you're computing and you have input and output. You can model as computer. So traditionally, still, people have to be individually doing something, and when you put together multiple people, there are a lot of interesting things that happen. So one example. If you heard the crowdsourcing is also kind of key to a lot of people use that. And by making the people work together, you can do a lot of interesting things. So there's one example. I was giving an example of the crowd, the powerful crowd, among many things. There was a paper in the Japanese conference about helping blind person finding their way. Or doing things. So blind person can try to use a vending machine. So I need to buy cola, cider, or something. I need to go and try. But the blind person cannot see. Sometimes the braille is not available. And so the people are watching this blind person. And sometimes not all of them watching. Some people or few people watch these blind people and help them, guide them, go push that button, and so on. So it's actually happening. This kind of social computing or people computing, helping other people. So there are many, it's interesting research challenge for the practical things out from the social activities. The thing is that there are many, I graduate from USA University of Southern California, Professor Wu, he also graduated from the same school, and he may have similar kind of stories or memories. We used to have a lot of person, I kind of sharing, again, I like to share, so this kind of group activities, group eating, eating, kind of I think the fundamental social thing is the act of eating, when you have dinner together. And the one thing I kind of want to say about eating, I recently read about, is that try to eat with different people each time. So we go to lunch, we usually go to the same group, and then go out to the same friends and so on. But think about you have a different partner each time. So lunch time, you find people you want to talk to, or just a new person, stranger, it could be stranger, but kind of you have to be safe. But find somebody and eat together. I think that's something you can you eat with different people each time, and that actually gives you power. It's the social power. A lot of new things. You learn a lot of things from people. So life moving is not. It's actually happening currently. Samsung, as far as I can tell, they're doing it. Apple is doing this. This life logging has been mentioned about 10 years ago. It's not a new thing. And the thing is that we also have life logging data. KT has life logging data. We have all the mobile data. Unfortunately, I mentioned this, I cannot use that data from the current government policies. But again, it is allowed. If that's allowed, education, it could be very powerful. Again, it has to be individualized. If you group a few people together, the system cannot help you effectively. So this life logging has to happen. You should take it. There's actually, I need to, MIT, there's a faculty who recorded all the details of his kid from the beginning. So from the first day the baby's born, he was recording all the activity, every hour, every second. So he has all the movie. I think the kids is about 15 now. He has a history of the beginning to the end. It's kind of a little spooky, but all the history where he, when he first work, my mom and so on. And there's it was for just one kid, the kid, but I think that we have many more. This life logging is possible. The challenge is how we use this data effectively and then build cool services, cool applications. And that's it.
Any additional question or comment? Here first.
You told us that online learning can solve and overcome the limitation on the traditional-based education. But however, some research have reported that that online learning, the kind of online learning, make more digital divide and make more inequality and make more difference, because the only kids who was grown up in rich family have their own mobile device where can contact the high-speed internet or something like that.
No, it's actually, it has been like that, but it's actually opposite now, because the mobile phone, even in the poor countries, South America, they have mobile phones. So if you can build something for mobile phones, things change over time. So that report is old, and that's what I can tell. And the mobile device, if you can build something on a mobile device, you can cover pretty much a lot of people. In Korea, think about how many people have a mobile device. If you build some educational tools in a mobile device, you can actually help a lot of people.
Firstly, thanks for your good lecture. And I guess KT is trying to make new business in education, and it's a big expansion from a simple communication company. So then, what other business areas KT is trying to expand?
We have many.
Other than education.
So the education, just that I pick a very small piece. Just for example, I cannot tell everything, but so we have a lot of CCTV data, so black box data will also have. So imagine you can automatically analyze it. So there are a lot of stories about tracking some criminal, what happened in, I forgot the city, but they were able to find the criminal or the killers with CCTV, right? It's happening right now, but many times the problem is there are so much data, you need to spend a lot of time going through manually, looking at it and so on. So we build the technology for automatic pattern analysis, so we kind of distinguish normal activity versus actually strange activities. So even in shops, 편의점 or like small shops. So there are people just come and go normally versus actually there's a stealing or violence. So we build technology for automatic detecting these kind of things. So we don't have to. There's so much data that the key technology is that we need to remove unnecessary data. That's also key technology. So in CCTV, there's so much data, we need to throw away unnecessary data. So we build this kind of technology, we capture only the ones, just in one example. And we have different things. So there are a lot of data analytics that happen, not just the education fields.
Any last question, or we'll wrap up this seminar? 큰 박수로 이 세미나 마무리하겠습니다.